All right, happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Hat Creek Interior Studios. We're glad you're here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Texas Tech softball still undefeated, 8-0 over Florida Atlantic today out there in Clearwater. Texas Tech baseball, the season opener. It was a really good baseball game for about 6 or 7 innings or so, and then it kind of unraveled late for the Red Raiders in a 10-3 win for Oklahoma there in Arlington. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll have Don Williams on. That's right, Don Williams. Williams Hyatt. Williams Hyatt. Where have we heard that before? Anyhow, the pride of the Avalanche-Journal in Tulia, Texas, going to help us break down a little Texas Tech baseball. And really, I want to talk to him about the biggest news of the week, which had nothing to do with any on-field stuff, but off-field funding for sports like Texas Tech track and field, baseball, and otherwise. We'll visit with him later on the show. The first part of the show belongs to you. Most Texan thing you did, we want to hear from you. And I would implore you right now, if you love the Big 12, if you love your school, you must send money to Kansas State right now. John Kurtz, pay attention. Send money to Kansas State to keep Jerome Tang as their basketball coach because the unhinged press conferences are too good to let go for a mere $18 million buyout. Keep him for another year. Folks, send in money. This is good stuff. All that coming up tonight, plus your comments, questions, thoughts, and anything else on your mind on a Friday in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. Glad you're with us here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios. That's right, Hat Creek Interiors, based in Lubbock, Texas, hatcreek.us on the website. Western style furniture and accessories, the best, not in the West, but really from the East Coast to the West Coast. Check them out on their showroom or the website. Also brought to you by the Reserve Culinary Tavern. You can check out all the Texas Tech basketball games, softball games, baseball games, everything going on there at the Reserve. But they have a great brunch. Now, brunch on Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. If you haven't made your reservations yet, I'm not saying it's too late. I'm just thinking, maybe you might want to make brunch plans for Sunday, early tomorrow, or you get the idea. Also brought to you by South Plains College in Levelland, Texas. The road to Raiderland runs through Levelland. A lot of great Red Raiders started off as great Texans. Find out what they can do for your family, online education, continuing education, you name it. South Plains College can make it happen. Great website, great Facebook page. Thank you, South Plains College. Also, everybody who joins the show tonight, get your comments in, your thoughts on Tech baseball, softball, most Texan thing you've done this week, and how we want to support Kansas State to keep Jerome Tang around. Because he may hate his dudes now, but we can't let him get rid of all the dudes because the hate to the dudes is just too much to enjoy. United Supermarkets, Market Street. All right. So here's another deal, guys. If you didn't already get your Valentine's cards, you're kind of screwed. You're going to get what you get. I've already got mine. We're good. I'm good. But they've got all sorts of stuff like flowers and candies and different things that will make up for the fact that you got a crappy Valentine's card. So go there tonight to Market Street, maybe in the morning, buy some time, whatever. They'll take care of you. They'll make it right. Or just, get meats and cheeses, a deli tray, shrimp. Bring your wife home some shrimp. There are things you can do. United Supermarkets, Market Street, great sponsors of Raiderland and, of course, Texas Tech. There's a grocery store that comes in and steals your money. They don't steal your money. That's. I didn't mean it that way. They will take your money and send it down south to put their name on things in Austin, and then there's United Supermarkets. Let's get it going. Get on the United Supermarket chat line tonight. What are we talking about tonight? Tech baseball falls 10-3 to Oklahoma. Jackson Burns gets the start. He pitched like an inning last year, one appearance. He got the kissing disease, mononucleosis, we believe, and he's pretty much done for the year. So the big, tall right-hander, about 6'5", comes out there today. He's dealing. He works a good first inning, dances in and out of trouble, but gets through 4 1/3 or whatever. You know, not bad. I was encouraged by that. Now, we did not expect a lot of runs to be scored today at Globe Life because it's really a pitcher's park. So I wasn't really concerned through the first 5 innings that it was a 3-2 game, 2-3 game, back and forth, everything else. They had their guy who pitched against Tech last year, and Cam Johnson, I think, Camden Johnson or Cam Johnson. I can't remember which one is Camden and Cameron. They got a Camden and a Cameron. Anyways, big old guy, and he's last year was a hard thrower in the upper 90s, but bad locator. Today he was throwing in the lower 90s, good locator, really pitching effectively, strike zone and everything else. So Texas Tech battles around, you're scuffling around, you're doing what you can. Okay, we got it. See how it's going to turn out. And, at the end of the day, you couldn't get anything strung together. Ryan Free comes in relief after Burns and doesn't have a bad inning there. What was it, 6? He gives up the go-ahead runs and everything in the 5th and the 6th. The big 5 spot comes in the 9th, guys that you're just trotting out there. So I'm not going to worry about that. So were you competitive for the most part with Oklahoma today? Yeah, you were. Top of the order was nice. Kyler Thompson, center fielder, 3 hits on the day, scores 1 of the runs. Tracer Lopez hitting up there at the top of the order. He gets him an RBI on the day. You've got a lot of young guys out there. Connor Schaus, he went over. Logan Hughes, he scores a run. He had a walk. Yeah, he had the walk and got on that. And then after that, he just didn't string together a ton of hits today, 6 hits. There's not a lot to go over on the, when you look at the box score and what guys are doing. You saw Lincoln Garcia, the third baseman, hitting there behind Logan Hughes, and he goes 1 for 2. I think that's kind of interesting. Pay attention to that. I think you've got a good bat behind Hughes right now. Caden Ferraro, the designated hitter, and then Matt Quintanar didn't get a hit, did get an RBI on the day on a fielder's choice. So that, and then Ryan Coleman, your slick fielding shortstop, pinch hit for him. Dude, Ryan, if you can hit a lick, you're going to be all Big 12. Just hit a lick. So Burns on the day, we'll run through the line score on the pitchers. 4 2/3. I thought he was going to get through and get a quality start. Didn't quite get it. Ryan Free had to bail him out. But 4 2/3, 3 hits, a run. It was earned, 5 walks and 4 strikeouts. So the 5 walks sucks. The 4 strikeouts, good. He scattered the hits. He competed, and that's what I liked about Jackson Burns today. He didn't implode at any point, like so many pitchers over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that when they got in trouble, they just imploded. I'm not going to name names, but they imploded. Free comes in, an inning and 2/3, 2 runs. They were both earned. Parker Terra, an inning and 2/3, 2 runs earned. 3 Ks, no walks. Faced 7 batters, a couple of hits. Adam Hayes comes in. He got hit hard, got out quick, and then Harion Hahn comes in and gives up the big fly with a couple of walks and just looked totally overwhelmed. We'll see him again soon, I hope, but just not in that setting. Then Jacob Rogers for the final 2/3. But man, Cameron Johnson today, 6 innings, looked really good for Oklahoma. Much better than last year. So that's how the stats break down on it today. I wanted your thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like today? Texas Tech baseball. Softball wins again, 8-0. They did have 2 home runs today. So the bomb squad, I think, is up to 14 at this point. Most Texan thing you've done this week, anything and everything else that's going on. And then we've got to keep Jerome Tang in the Big 12. All right? We got to do it. Joseph jumps in tonight. I know it's a Friday night. It's Friday night before Valentine's, and you guys are probably busy. And everybody, I think everybody who's in with us tonight, hey, hit the share, grow the show, invite some people in. We're this close to 700 on YouTube. That'd be awesome. Joseph, basketball has Toppin, football has Sorsby, softball has Kennedy, baseball has nobody in that price range. Tech doesn't care if it was a feel good 6 years ago when all the other sports sucked. I know exactly what you're talking about. We were talking about that with friends today. That does Tech really care about baseball now? Well, this week they announced they're going to actually start fully funding all the scholarships. That's a step in the right direction. I've seen twice in my professional career Texas Tech take baseball for granted. Larry Hayes, late 90s, into the 2000s, and they said, yeah, well, baseball is going to be fine. We don't have to do anything. Larry will do fine, and everything will be okay. And it started a slow erosion downhill when they started throwing all the money to Jones Stadium. And, that was the time when they were building and had just built United Supermarkets Arena. And they just said, baseball, we don't care. And I've seen it over the last couple of years that they just didn't care about baseball. And they're paying the price. And it made it easy for some mega donors to get frustrated with the program and say, we're not going to throw money at it. We're not going to give you $1 million. I'm not going to name names, but mega donors who had been involved said, yeah, okay, fine. If Tech doesn't care, we're not going to care. We'll do something else. What's going on at BYU? Jeff says. 2 assault cases in 2 years with their best players. Does Satake have a culture problem? No, of course not. He's a BYU guy through and through. Maybe BYU is actually more transparent than a lot of schools. Maybe BYU has a higher standard. Or maybe BYU brings in people that don't fit their culture sometimes. Or maybe BYU in Salt Lake City aggressively play. I don't know. But it's easy to sit there and go, yeah, you run off one quarterback and you end up getting a better quarterback, I think, out of the deal last year. And now you have this with your wide receiver. Culture problem? Oh. I mean, they ain't Tennessee. They ain't Georgia. Lynn, walks always come to burn you. Well, I've always said that. Fun watching softball. Yeah, softball been good. Softball been very, very good to me. Softball been very, very good to me lately. Easy today. They still got 3 games to go. The interesting one, I think, is going to be Nebraska on Sunday. Nebraska beat Texas last week to allow Texas Tech to become the #1 ranked team in the country. Sign me up. They were playing, Tennessee today? Get your thoughts on Texas Tech baseball. I think this team is better. No. I know this team is better than it was a year ago. What will that translate? Wins and losses, everything else. They were picked 9th in the Big 12. I think they'll finish better than that in the Big 12. What did I look for on day one? You competed really well until it got late. And I don't know if some of those guys that you had on the mound late, you'll see much. You got 2 more games against high leverage teams and 23rd ranked Vanderbilt and 7th ranked Arkansas coming up. I think at a certain point there in the late innings, if I'm Tim Tadlock, and Tim Tadlock does this in regionals, he does this in Big 12 series, he manages to not let one game lose him 2 or 3. So I think maybe late he was managing again like we've seen him do over the years. And I'm not going to let one game beat me twice. And I respect that. I think it's a brilliant managerial strategy, So I'm not going to read too much into anything beyond about the 7th inning. Would have liked to have seen this offense string together more at bats, and that's something that he didn't do last year. last year they did not string together at bats and innings. It was isolational shots here and there, but it wasn't stringing together innings. They never built a cohesive, in my opinion, they never really found a cohesive lineup up and down through the order that complemented each other, that made you go, okay, this guy is going to complement him. This batter's going to protect him. We're going to do that. So you look at the day one lineup, it's day one lineup, you know, it's day one. It's going to change. Tim Tadlock will change lineups all the way through late April into May, and his good teams, he's always done it. But I was intrigued how they had Lincoln Garcia behind Hughes and trying maybe to get him to see a few things. And obviously, Lincoln Garcia today gets him a base knock and gets on twice with the walk. So that was good. And then Matt Quintanar, I'm intrigued to see with the catcher what kind of pop you've got. And kind of do you have like a 4-5-6 thing that we saw back around 2018, 2019 with this team. All right. Without any delay, other than going through some more comments, Nebraska game on ESPN talking about softball. Yeah, I think it's either on ESPN or ESPN2, probably ESPN2. Joseph Henderson on Facebook. I agree that Tech baseball is better this year. The question is, how much better is the rest of the conference? TCU, good. We're going to see how good this weekend. After that, it's not a conference where you're seeing 4 or 5 teams ahead of you out of the 8 teams that were voted ahead of you that are just residing in the top 10 or top 20 of, any of the major polls. His name is Don Williams, and we bring him into the program right now. Why do we do that? Because we told him we would. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Ron. How are you doing?
Where are you?
I'm at home.
Oh, I thought you were in Vegas. It looked like kind of like a Vegas couch and stuff, like artwork behind you.
No, it's my couch.
I was like, what are you doing?
Hey,
thanks for hanging out on a Friday. I appreciate it, man. Hope you're having a great week. We'll start with the game today, but I think the lead has been buried in Red Raider Athletics this week with the story you did talking about what Kirby Hocutt announced earlier this week on some scholarship funding and everything else, and we'll get to that. But let's go to the game today. I thought Jackson Burns, if he didn't pitch well, he competed well. And that's something maybe we haven't seen out of Tech pitchers a whole lot when things get bad the last couple of years. How would you rate that young man's, this was his second appearance in a Tech uniform? How would you rate how he handled a little bit of adversity and gutted his way through 4 2/3?
Oh, I'd rate it really well. I mean, if you told me, I think told Tim Tadlock that Jackson Burns would take the ball, throw 84 pitches, and get you to 2 outs in the 5th and leave in a 1-0 game. Can't remember now if the run score. I think it was 1-0 when he left, and then
right.
The inherited runner scored.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you had told me that he would have gotten 14 outs before OU got a run, particularly on opening day, I think they would have taken that and been very happy with it, especially for a guy who is making only his second appearance in a college baseball uniform and his first since this weekend last year. And as you said, I think obviously he wasn't real sharp, but bases loaded in the 2nd, doesn't give up a run. Bases loaded in the 4th, doesn't give up a run. First 2 batters on in the 5th, and only one of those runners scores. So, yeah, maybe you expect that from a guy who's a veteran pitcher who has skins on the wall. But for a guy who's, like I say, a freshman, basically, that's against the Power 4 lineup. I think that's really encouraging. I think probably the more discouraging part, and I'm not making too much of one game, that.
Right.
But I think, the thing is, they got the home run off Free, the home run off of Hutera, and you brought
your
pardon,
and then Hahn.
Yeah, so you brought your some of your A-list pitchers out there, and it was them who actually gave up the runs. Like I say though, and just like I do, you don't make too much of one game, either good or bad.
No. I thought the lineup was kind of interesting. I was really intrigued how they were going to bat Hughes. We've heard about Quintanara, and some of these bats that they are bringing in. It seemed like it would stretch out, and maybe I'm not giving Johnson enough credit for OU. I mean, he pitched lights out, and this was a guy a year ago who could throw 97, 98, and this year he's decided, what if I throw 92, 93 and throw strikes? And maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but the structure of the lineup early on, one game, again, I know, one game, but it seems to stretch out a little bit better, maybe, than last year. Or am I just projecting a little bit?
Well, yeah, for sure, maybe, because last year, once you got past about the 4 hole, I think there was a big drop off. The top half of the order needed to provide the runs, and there wasn't enough. You did not get enough from the bottom half of the order really consistently, pretty much all season. So
yeah.
So yeah, I think you definitely hope for that. I think
it felt like
two things that kind of intrigued me. I was interested in the lineup today from the standpoint that Tim Tadlock had told me when we talked. I wrote this in my season preview a week or so ago. They said thinking about hitting Villeneuve leadoff, and because of new modern baseball. I mean, he had a
right.
447 on base percentage last year, which was, way higher than pretty much any of these guys who are coming back. And so he actually said he was going to bat. I think he had Villeneuve actually written leadoff on the lineup card at the alumni game. But Villeneuve was one of those guys who got sick, and so he didn't play that day. So I'll be interested to see if they actually do try that at all. And the other thing is
it wasn't like Thompson was bad up there today.
Oh no! But Thompson, the thing about Thompson is he gets so much attention, and rightly so, for his speed, which we saw on display again today. Feels like yesterday. I've worked on 3 other stories. I've written like 3 other stories since the baseball game. Feels like yesterday, but for all the attention he gets for his speed, though, that's the big discrepancy there, though. His on base percentage wasn't that high last year. It was like 100. I think he was a little tick under. I may be wrong here. Let me look it up because I don't want to misstate.
No, that's my job.
But but that's the thing about Thompson. Yes, he's a huge weapon if you get him on base, but he's got to get on base. He can't steal first. And so, okay, I'm going to find it here real quick. He batted .257. And the on base is better than I was thinking, better than I remembered. 358.
There you go.
100 points below Villeneuve's OBP. 257 though, a little lighter than you want. But yeah, I mean that's the thing though. Yes, Thompson. We all know how fast he is, but it would be great to see him bat 300 or draw a few more walks here and there, so that so they can steal 40 instead of 29.
Up the middle.
Here's the other thing. And here's the other thing. I said I was intrigued by a couple of things. One was who was batting leadoff. 2 is I've been kind of curious that it doesn't seem like Hollis Porter has been talked about very much. No. And I know, yes, they do have obviously quite a few corner guys to sort through with, Villeneuve and Caden Ferraro, who's highly touted transfer from Blinn, with Garcia at third, with Orphy, who can play third. A lot of corner guys, plus 1 or 2 more I'm forgetting. But Porter, batted 303 last year with 21 home runs and 64 RBI in the Big Ten.
Yeah, a legitimate conference.
At Maryland, not at Maryland Eastern Shore or Maryland State. He had 21 bombs in the Big Ten. It doesn't seem like Tim Tadlock's talked about him very much so far, and then he's not in the lineup today. Obviously, used him, came off the bench late in a high leverage situation where he came to the plate as the go-ahead run. But I'll be curious to see if
he's not used to it being this warm in February.
Yeah,
it's like the the other side of like a reptile. He doesn't know what it's like. I want to talk about the middle infield a little bit. And all right, so you got Lopez and Ryan Coleman. We love Ryan Coleman on the defense. Coleman Ryan, sorry, Ryan Coleman.
The man who has a first name for a last name and a last name for a first
exactly,
name.
And you throw my name in there, and I have no chance. So Coleman Ryan, Tracer Lopez. Can Coleman Ryan? I love him short. Can he hit enough to stay out there on the field? Because they always talk. Tim Tadlock for years has said, if you hit, we'll find a place for you to stand. Can he field enough to find a place to stand in the batter's box?
Well, that's the thing, because I think he has to be a very slick fielder really to play. Because we're just talking about Thompson has to hit to maximize his weapon, and Coleman Ryan has to hit, I think, to kind of. I was actually, pardon me. Let me go back. Coleman Ryan has to field
enough, to justify.
Yeah, to justify carrying what
he's got to take away a run or so a game.
Yeah, well, he has to make every routine play, I think, is the thing. Mm-hmm. He has to make every routine play, and he didn't make every routine play today, I think. But, last year, 248, no homers, 11 RBI. That's hard to play unless you're special at shortstop defense.
Ask Mark Belanger about that.
Yeah, that works in the era that we grew up in.
Yeah.
The era that we grew up in, that works. But in college baseball 2026, like I say, you need to be really special with the glove if you're hitting 248 with no homers.
Lopez, can he hold down second, you think?
He always has, hasn't he? He's kind of like the old. I don't know. He's kind of like the well-oiled glove that you pull out of the closet. Yeah.
I should have come up with a better way of phrasing that. Is
there somebody to push him out?
And that's the deal. Can he be pressured to elevate? Is there anybody who could move him out of that? And if that's so, then you got a good team. But I don't think so.
I guess you kind of have to maybe move some guys around from where at least initially you have them playing. And I haven't seen this, I haven't seen a team enough to know, what the other option or options are there. But, I think maybe Tracer Lopez gets, I don't know, unfairly knocked a little bit because he's kind of been close to the same guy really from freshman year to senior year. It's not like he's broken out and had 15 bombs.
Yeah.
But he was, maybe people underappreciate the fact that he walked in here as a true freshman and was an immediate, key player holding down a middle infield job. And, and it's kind of provided you, steady play for 3 and going into his 4th year now. And maybe, like I say, because he doesn't put up huge numbers offensively, people are always kind of looking at him as, who can you get to?
How can we get rid of this guy?
Yeah. We see a lot of that in football where it's like the mere mention of a guy's, who's a transfer or who has 4 stars is okay. He can play and he's going to take the job of so and so who started for 3 years.
Yeah,
people are convinced that that players they haven't seen are better than players they have. Now I think Tracer Lopez is kind of one of those. People will see him and you know what you're going to get. He's going to hit you about 5 homers. He's going to drive in 25 or 30 runs and provide just steady defense there at second. Not flash, but solid. And I think clearly, very clearly, Tim Tadlock appreciates that because he has said a lot of the same stuff about Tracer Lopez for 3 years now.
I would say this. that if Tracer Lopez had had the players around him that Brian Klein had while he was playing middle infield, second base, things might look a little different. And that's not a rundown on Klein or anything else, but sometimes when you're a second baseman, a lot of it depends on what else is going on around you. Because you just got to do your job at second base. You got to make routine plays like we're talking about here. So, I don't even take that the wrong way, but yeah. Because I'm a fan. I like Lopez. Give me a second baseman I don't have to worry about. I don't have to think about. I just put him out there for a while. Yeah, it's good. All right, I want to move past today's game, and we can talk about the rest of the week next week. But I thought you had the biggest story of the week regarding Texas Tech athletics, and it revolved around the not Red Raider Club tour or whatever, but I believe it was down in Midland this week, and maybe having to do with some of the conversations you had with Kirby Hocutt. But Texas Tech announcing, or Kirby Hocutt announcing, because schools don't announce things, people announce things, and I learned that at Texas Tech journalism school. You have to attribute it to a human being. Texas Tech,
Harmon, was that
Harmon Morgan, and Bob Rooker. Yeah. Texas Tech is going to start fully funding baseball with the new scholarship level, and track will go up. I don't know if will it be fully funded on track or to the max, or but
no, don't know the specifics. Kirby Hocutt just said 80 more scholarships for non-revenue sports. I think it'll be. And I think now that I think about it, I think I do know the number, but I can't recall exactly.
That's all right.
I think it's going to be roughly double, or maybe a little bit more than double. I don't think it will be full. Right. I'll have to get back to you on that. But it's going to be substantially more on. You said track, right? Or did I stream that?
Track and field's going up, definitely. Baseball's going up, definitely. And then I think those are the two major non-revs that needed the bump up in scholarships. Soccer, softball, they were already where they needed to be. I think tennis and golf were pretty much fully funded. Can you
imagine softball with more resources?
Yeah. They could be number one plus one.
More.
Be like an A plus.
It's kind of like the golf. Golf handicap.
Yeah.
Where you're better than scratch, you actually move the needle.
I wouldn't know about that, Don. My USGN number is it's a negative integer. I don't know how many people though realized that Texas Tech baseball was skating shorthanded scholarship wise the last year and a half, and what it was doing to the program.
Well, I don't know. I think quite a few. I mean, especially people who are Texas Tech fans and attuned to baseball, because we wrote about the same topic last year.
Oh, I know, but Don, a lot of Tech baseball fans are just baseball or football guy who just shows up in the middle of spring and goes, "Why the hell do they suck now? Fire Matt Gardner." That guy.
Yeah.
College baseball fans, I don't know.
Anyway, no point in arguing, but I think there's quite a bit of recognition that when Kirby Hocutt said, not just for baseball, but when Kirby Hocutt just said, period, no, we're not funding any additional scholarships. And he said it last year, and we're talking about for this school year, the school year that we are in, no additional scholarships. That includes football. Football still with 85 scholarships. Football's still going to be with 85 scholarships next year. But the reason why they did that, this was strategic. The reason why they did that, and I think, even though we've written about this is something that's misunderstood, that in year one here, any additional spending you do on scholarships up to $2.5 million comes out of that revenue share pool.
The House settlement cap. right?
Yeah, it's a zero-sum game.
Okay.
So all these schools, the schools that did add scholarships, everybody's like, oh, look, they're not adding scholarships. And Tech's not adding scholarships. Well, the reason why Tech didn't add scholarships is because then it would have reduced your revenue share pool. So these schools that added scholarships, they don't have $20.5 million of revenue share, because what you add in scholarships comes down from your revenue share comes down, is subtracted. If you had 2 million scholarships, then your revenue share drops to 18.5. Well, okay, so but in year one, the coach, because as Kirby Toka said the other night, at Texas Tech, they took the approach that cash is king, going to give you maximum revenue share.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of decide how to use it if you want. Okay, you want to give a kid $10,000 in revenue share on your baseball program. He can use $10,000 to help pay the tuition on top
tuition, or drop it down
on top
or whatever.
of his partial scholarship. Or he can use $10,000 to buy a little better car. Yeah, it's up to him. But anyhow, they decided that, okay, after seeing this in practice,
it didn't work.
These first several months, they decided, okay, let's go the other way, and let's go ahead and if we want more scholarships.
And I think that was particularly coming out of the SEC, and in baseball specifically. Let's take track out a little bit. Track's kind of its own unique animal a little bit, and track needs its dollars and everything else. But other than, like, saying A&M and Georgia and Oregon, track's not having a bunch of money thrown at it. But baseball.
Well, hang on. Let me stop you there.
Yeah, you're gonna stop me.
I don't know. Wes Kitley is definitely one of those who decided that he wants more scholarships, and he can do with whatever on the revenue share.
Oh no, I'm not saying he doesn't want them.
And he's talked about not only the SEC, but Kansas State in particular within the Big 12 is one of those who committed. He says he thinks about twice as many scholarships as Texas Tech has. So Kansas State this year is looking pretty formidable in track, and he said that's the reason why.
No.
Committed to scholarships.
Sorry, I misspoke. Maybe misinterpreted a little bit. The scholarships on track are huge. It's the NIL that you can kind of be a little more fungible on that, but scholarships are huge because not as many schools are throwing NIL cash at track. But back to baseball, I think the big thing was it's whatever the SEC is doing, and if the SEC is throwing 34 scholarships out there in baseball, you got a match. That's like the starting offer. If you're not doing that, then I don't think some of the players want to talk to you. No matter whether you can come back and say, well, yeah, you can pay for the scholarship with the NIL we got, but if, certain guys whose last name, rhyme with a ruler don't want to have a part of it anymore, it gets harder.
I'm not speaking for Tim Tadlock, but I remember when we were having this discussion, like I say, last year at this time, on what would be the best way to go, scholarships for NIL. I actually made the comment. I said, Tim Tadlock, I don't think Tim Tadlock wants 30, whatever the number was going to be, 34 full scholarships, because you don't want a reliever who's made 2 appearances and had an 18 ERA sitting out there in the bullpen that is on a full scholarship. I was thinking about 25 would be the number.
Like a baseball, like a 27 roster or something.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I guess if you want 34, go for it. Give you, like you say.
Well, but okay, here's why that number is up there, right? So it can be matched on the other side on Title IX. That's part of it on the number there. So I have no idea where we're going with this whole thing, but the announcement this week, how quickly do you think it will impact recruiting baseball, track, non-rev at Tech? What's the goal?
Well, obviously, Wes Kitley was already recruiting at an extremely high level.
Yeah.
Regardless.
He didn't have any dudes.
So what?
He didn't have any dudes. Jerome Tang would not like any of his dudes. No. No good players.
You give, he's still doing pretty well, even with whatever the limitations as they are this year. So you fully are, or close to fully arm him. I think Tech Track is kind of right back where they have been the last 5 years. Baseball, obviously, sure. If you give them 3 times more scholarship money,
Yeah.
That should make a difference. What else did you say?
I have no idea.
I guess it'll should help everybody because
Yeah.
Kirby Hocutt was pretty clear that the consensus of his coaches is they understand the thought, they appreciate the little extra NIL, but they want the scholarships seem to them to be the way to go.
The baseline, and then we go from there. All right. I kept you over time. I always do. I'm sorry. I apologize, Donna. I know you've been writing all day. What's coming up on Lubbock Online? AJ, what do we need to pay attention to?
Baseball recaps, more Texas Tech football stuff. That's the main thing. And I'm going to try to get up to Sports Performance Center for track, which is going on as we speak.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out there tomorrow on it as well. And, of course, Texas Tech and Vanderbilt 11 a.m. tomorrow, baseball-wise.
Is that thunder?
That's thunder. It's raining over here.
Good Lord. Yeah, it's raining out even here on the farm right now, but good Lord, that was thunder.
I just closed my front door before I sat down to talk to you. I'm excited to get up and open the door and see what it looks like out there.
I hope we get some rain out here. One last question. All right. And it's a big ballpark question.
I'm not good at these. I need very specific questions.
This could take
now you're going to make me
this could take 5 minutes. Does 21-year-old Don Williams, if he were here today, would he like covering college sports the way it is today?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know me. I mean, like I say,
I know.
I've described my love with sports as I can't remember a time in my life when I was not obsessed with sports, and that goes back to my earliest memories when I was 5 years old.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to do was play sports, watch sports, read about sports, listen to sports on the radio, play sports games like Super Toe and electric football.
Bam.
So yeah. Although you said the 18 to 21 year old, the 18 to 21 year old me, my dream was to be a Major League Baseball beat writer. But before I turned 30, I quickly realized that I can cover high level sports without spending 2 weeks out of every 8 months out of
in a hotel room,
out of a travel bag on the road. So the dream of the appreciation for Major League Baseball has never died, but the dream of being a Major League Baseball beat writer ended pretty quickly of my own decision.
That's funny,
about a half a dozen trips a year covering Texas Tech football, and a few here and there for baseball and whatnot is plenty. About the right number for me.
It's funny. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but I saw some of my friends go down the road to minor league baseball announcers and travel and different things in the lifestyle. And they got me over that real quick in my late 20s and early 30s. I had a pretty good gig here.
Yeah.
Still do.
I realize the same thing. I will say this, though, since you made me think about it. It would have been much more difficult to cover as an 18 to 21 year old because it's difficult to cover now as a 61-year-old. Because at least when I was 18 to 21, or most of these last 4 decades, I felt like I actually knew what was going on in college athletics and could speak with some degree of I don't want to say the word authority, some degree of knowledge.
Yeah,
I can speak at least with what you needed knowledge-wise about most of the sports I was covering. But now it's like there's so many, all the changes. It's challenging to keep up with, like I say, understanding all this stuff. And what is the rule and what's the rule? I asked Kirby Hocutt the other day, okay, the House settlement, Texas Tech seems to be, like complying with, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the football roster. House settlement says football roster is 105. But is 105 is it hard and fast the rule now? Because the House settlement, everybody's agreed to it, but some of the stuff isn't being enforced.
Yeah. So if it's a rule and it's not being enforced, is it a rule?
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm having a hard time understanding. That's just an example. I'm having a hard time understanding some of this stuff.
There's a great line in the movie Tombstone where Wyatt Earp, Kurt Russell's character, looks at Sheriff Bean and says, "I don't think I'm going to let you arrest us today." And that's college sports right now. I don't think I'm going to let you arrest us today.
Yeah, yeah.
And the NCAA is like, "Oh, okay." So, all right.
Well. I tell you what, the NCAA gets a bad rap, and here the reason why is because like Joey McGuire's talked about this, and some of the other Joey McGuire and Dan Lanning, at the Orange Bowl, they're on the same wavelength. We got to do something, fix the schedule. We got to fix the schedule. We got to fix the schedule. This is crazy. This is nuts. Well, who was it that asked for a December signing date?
Yeah, coaches.
The coaches. Who was it that, the schedule is the schedule because that's what, and I'm not singling out Joey McGuire. I mean,
no, it's just,
the NCAA adopts policies that the coaches vote for and recommend. We want it this way. Okay, here you go. You got it that way.
The NCAA is the member institutions. Who are those? I don't know. They're from Pluto. No, they're your schools.
People are angry about players being paid for college athletics. Blame the NCAA. Well, the NCAA fault players being paid for college athletics. They're on your side. They didn't like it. They didn't want it this way either. So don't blame them. It's the courts. If you want to blame somebody.
I blame Teddy Roosevelt. He started the NCAA. It was his idea. The old bull moose himself, if he looked around today, would go, "Bully, you're getting paid. That's all right." Don, thanks. I appreciate it. I hope you get some good rain in town. We need it out here.
Sounds like it's raining even harder now than it was 3 minutes ago when he asked me about it.
All right. I think it's only like $1 a month or something for the Lubbock Online subscription. So, do that, guys. Right?
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Don. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Don Williams, everybody. All right. TheRaiderland.com, where you can follow us. We've had a fun show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you will share it with your friends at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on YouTube and Facebook. And then we're going to post this on the website, and off we go on Twitter into the night.